Meta, how are you?
I'm good. I don't have a ton of time today, but I had a little bone to pick with you, and I saw Grant is in the audience, so I thought I would just bring it up real quick if you want to talk about the fake YouTube videos
Yeah,
that have been going around.
let's pick the bones. Let's go. Let's go.
Should we start with
Pick
jury
the
rig
bone.
and everything, and then work our way to uh, the new one by Mark Rober?
Yeah. What was the Jerry Rig Everything one? I don't know that one.
So I just posted it. He basically claimed he was going to test the Cybertruck towing capacity. Um, and he goes and gets an excavator that can apply 50,000 pounds of force. And he makes a whole bunch of statements about how aluminum has memory and steel doesn't have memory and all this other stuff. And then he does the experiment, and then he concludes it broke at 10,000 pounds, and it's rated to only do tow 11,000 pounds, and that this is a big failure by Cybertruck, and Tesla's got
Hmm.
a big problem on its hands.
Hmm.
Um, However, if you actually watch the video, because a lot of people, so I posted comments about it before I watched the whole video, and people were like, "You didn't watch the video." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm refusing to watch the video because the math is just obvious. I can look at the photos and it's very clear. He doesn't know what towing is." Um, and
Oh,
Wes,
really?
who's the lead product designer on Cybertruck, made the same comments. So I was like, "Yeah, I don't want to give this guy a view," but people kept commenting, so I went and viewed it today, and I actually just posted all the quotes from it. So if you want, I can read them out real quick.
Yeah.
So it's very telling that, to me, this is like as clear as it is that somebody's faking something. Obviously, this is not a comment on the Mark Rober thing, but I'm just trying to show like the trend, if you will. Okay, so shoot, I posted too much stuff this morning. Um, where is it? Give me 1 second, I'll find the exact quotes. Twitter's really bad with search. I guess it never posted.
That's all right. You want to just kind of give us the color?
Yeah, I'll just give you the color. So I went through the video and I looked at, I don't know how it disappeared, but anyway, I looked at all the ways that the video was wrong. So first, at about 200 to 300 in, you can see he's really nervous and he thinks it's going to break. At about 500, he starts saying, "Oh, this is crazy. This is crazy." Thing is, they're applying downward pressure, 90 degrees down, not vertical pressure. Yeah, horizontal pressure. They're applying vertical pressure. That is
Mm,
tongue weight, not
right.
toe weight.
Right.
So when you tow things, you don't fly up off the ground. You
Yeah.
drive forward. And this the thing you tow usually has wheels. And so when you're towing something, even if you were towing something that's 11,000 pounds, if you didn't have any wheels, you're not applying 11,000 pounds of force. You're applying way more because you measure force based on what you're pulling. So if you have really good wheels, you can actually lower the towing capacity. You can increase your towing capacity. And we know this because the same guy, when the Cybertrucks first came out, posted a video of him towing 12,000 pound a ton, sorry. And then at that time he complained that it only went 95 miles. And when people posted that the F-150 does 85
Yeah.
miles, he was called
I
out
mean,
back
look,
then.
do you think Cybertruck, what do you think is the probability that Tesla um, ends the Cybertruck program?
I don't think they end the Cybertruck program. I just got mine wrapped.
What's
It
the
looks
probability? What's the
gorgeous.
probability?
0. In the next
Zero
2 years,
percent probability.
0.
Okay. What about in the next 5 years?
I mean, they'll probably end it if they make another truck. Like
Hmm.
I can't say in the next 5 years they won't have a new version of the Cybertruck.
Yeah, I mean, the range is the problem, right? The range is the problem. It's not the tongue weight or the towing weight or whatever.
I thought it would
It's
be
the
the problem.
range. It's number one, the range, and number two, looks, and number three, Elon's politics.
I use it for work. My dad is in construction. We tow stuff. This thing tows just fine. It's not, and the range is not a problem. The range has not been a problem. I've used it to
I
drive
mean,
down.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Tesla's range are sufficient,
Yeah.
but most people don't agree with you and I.
I think all the people that are saying that the range is not sufficient have never actually used it. I thought like, so when I first got it, I was disappointed by the range. You were there. You saw my disappointment about the range.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I'm not trying to be revisionist here. I really thought I wanted 600. I really wanted 600. I would still like 600. I'm not saying I don't want 600 in there, but I have driven from San Francisco to LA, 6-hour drive. That's the longest drive I'm ever going to do without stopping.
I understand, but the thing is, like, all else equal, more range is the better. I'm sure you agree with that statement,
I
right?
don't know that I do. Okay, all else equal, yes.
All
All else
else equal,
equal.
yes,
Sure, sure.
exactly. So
Yeah, all else
if
equal.
it doesn't add hundreds of pounds to the weight of the vehicle, etc. So therefore, I think e-revs are the way to go, especially
Well,
for
it's
trucks.
it's it's never going to be all else equal, because if you told me I could reduce the weight back down to 400 and save you 10,000 or $20,000, yeah, I'd probably take that.
Hmm. Yeah. Grant, what do you have to say about this?
I think it's a YouTube video. You know, people do things on YouTube that are just designed to get clicks and likes and eyeballs. I don't think that it's intended to be super scientific. I think the flaws that Meta's pointing out are largely fair, but I don't know. It's just not something that I'm personally
I mean,
super invested in.
I haven't even about to see that one. I don't think that matters too much. I think the LiDAR one matters though. So the one that just came out yesterday now has more than 10 million views. It's going to get to tens of millions of views in the next few days. And I think that it has some implications. And I wonder how many of the Tesla bulls that are dissing this video actually watched the entire video. I would assume probably maybe 1%. I watched the entire video, and they have way more than just crashing into the wall. They test different scenarios, and LiDAR definitely does better, performs better. Meta?
We can speak about each of the scenarios one at a time. The other video has 2 million views. So the reason why I brought that up initially is to set the stage, because I can see where Grant is going to go and say, oh, well, that YouTube video doesn't count, because granted, every engineer has come out and said, oh, steel has memory, aluminum doesn't. The guy claims that aluminum has memory, steel doesn't. Like that's just provable falsehoods. There's provable falsehoods about the tongue capacity versus towing capacity. The thing breaks at 10.5, which is 11 times higher, 10 times higher than the actual rated capacity. So all these things are incorrect in that one video. This new video comes out, it's not been out that long. And now I've actually even posted screenshots of it. There's lots of evidence that the second video is also not accurate and not correct. And I've actually posted videos of like the fog test, for example, where it's working just fine. Why is it working fine in other people's fog tests, but not in theirs? I can go over it if we want to.
So you're saying the methodology of testing was wrong, or the guy was trying to kind of generate clicks? Is that your claim?
Yeah, my claim is they started with a script and then they worked their way backwards, and they took multiple takes, and the guy had his foot on the accelerator. You can look at the screenshots of the corrective video that he posted. Here's the full clip, as he said, and he posted it. And there's text on the screen. And as other people have pointed out, every other piece of footage he's put out, there's 4K, except the interior of the thing. And then he says, my foot was not on the
Let me
brake,
ask you this. Let me
but
ask
that's
you
the
this.
message on the screen.
True or false? Very simple statement. True or false? LiDAR increases safety.
False.
What the hell? Are you out of your mind?
No, I've
How?
gone over this
Okay,
in the space multiple times with you
tell
guys.
me.
I
Tell
even
me
got
how
Grant to
LiDAR,
admit it one time.
tell me how one more sensor, whether it's LiDAR, ultrasonics, or radar, or infrared, does not increase safety.
LiDAR reduces reaction time.
Not necessarily.
No, 100%. I want to talk about from an engineering perspective, it 100% reduces reaction time.
Not necessarily. If you design it that way, yeah. If you want to do
Okay,
sensor
tell me how
fusion
you
or
would
whatever.
design a LiDAR that does not reduce reaction time.
I mean, I can design, like, for example, let's say FSD, right? It's all based on vision, and then you add LiDAR to it,
No,
and
no,
you
no.
run the
So
LiDAR
here's the
system separately
this is
from
not
the
no, no, no.
FSD system.
You're focused on the wrong things. LiDAR requires a round trip of a photon. Camera does not.
Hmm. I understand, but sometimes LiDAR detects things that camera doesn't.
Incorrect.
If your AI system is not perfect, sometimes LiDAR can detect an object with 100% certainty that your AI system doesn't determine.
How often
to
does LiDAR
100%.
have false positives?
I don't know, but what I said is correct, right?
No, it is not correct. That's what I just pointed out to you. 2 minutes. Two things
No,
you
no,
said are
no. Hold
incorrect.
on. So you're telling me that. So you're saying the following statement is false. Sometimes LiDAR can detect an object with 100% certainty that a vision system cannot determine 100% if your AI system is not good enough.
Because of the fact that it's 100% certainty, your statement is incorrect.
Why?
Because LiDAR does not detect objects with 100% certainty.
Well, you're getting a photon back, right?
No, so there's such things as interference, there's bouncing. There's no way for you to confirm that the photon you sent is the photon you received.
There's no way to confirm that the photon you sent is the photon that you received. Well, the video explains that those photons are sent one at a time.
There's no other sources of light at the time when you're driving on the road. What are we talking about?
Grant?
I think that in my mind, what's going on is that there's a very simple point to be taken away from some of these videos, and there are a lot of people that want to make it complicated. I agree with your statement that LiDAR makes things safer. I think it'll probably be standard issue on new cars in 10 years. Like, that's simple, but I understand a lot of people
It's
don't
very
want to be
simple
simple.
for simple-minded people who have no engineering background. I agree, Grant. If you want to ignore exactly how anything works and just repeat your position, fine. But if you want to talk actual physics, let's talk physics.
Okay.
Why does it
Let's leave
require
aside,
physics?
Grant, stop. Let's think for a second. So let's drop the 100% requirement from the LiDAR statement. Okay. Meta, are you telling me that in no case LiDAR has higher probability of certainty, higher probability of confidence when detecting objects than a camera-based system?
In a dark room with no interference, LiDAR performs better. I agree.
Okay, so there are scenarios where having LiDAR is beneficial.
Not when driving. not realistic scenarios. Fog, for example, the example they use in the fog scenario.
Wait, so in the dark, you're driving at night. You're telling me that a system with LiDAR is not at all safer than a vision-based system?
I am repeating it multiple times. I know that Waymo and others have posted this. It is not factually correct. And we break it down, or you can keep asking the same question.
No, I'm not asking this different questions, and you know that.
No, you slightly modified it because you
Mhm.
just changed it to in the dark. I'm saying in the dark in a vacuum.
Well,
Where there are no other sources of light.
the
When you
question
drive,
I'm
you have
asking,
other
the
sources of
question
light.
you're avoiding the question. The question, true or false? In the dark, all else equal, a system with LiDAR can perform better than a vision-only system.
There exist instances where people win lotteries. That does not make investing in a lottery better than investing in a stock market.
Well, all I'm hearing is like, I mean, listen, if your eyes can't see in the dark, and cameras that are similar to your eyes that probably
not.
won't be able to see,
Li-
and
Cameras are as similar to
a
your eyes as LiDAR is
LiDAR,
similar to your eyes.
if there is an animal out far and your camera isn't detecting it, a LiDAR could.
Not true.
Right?
Factually incorrect.
Why?
You keep repeating factually incorrect statements.
Why?
LiDAR has a photon receptor just like a camera. All the faults that cameras face, like glare and everything else, appear in LiDAR too. The only difference is what you see when you see rendered LiDAR is a rendered processed image.
No,
And
hold
LiDAR
on.
companies demonstrate
In
those from good
nighttime
outcomes.
when you're driving, let's say there's no sunlight when you're driving out, there's no light around, and there's a deer in front of you.
False.
The LiDAR.
There's always
What do
light
you mean
around.
for? I'm not done yet. Relax. Let's say there's very little to the very little. I mean, don't tell me you have perfect dark vision. Okay, so let's say there's very little light, if at all. Okay, and there's a deer up front.
Where in this
The
world is there no
LiDAR,
light?
you know what I'm getting to, so that's why you're cutting me off. The
Well, I'm
LiDAR,
correcting you because you keep making false statements.
generates the photon that the camera, the passive optical, cannot generate, and you know that.
No, I know you're saying false things. Stop telling me what I'm saying. You want to ask questions, ask questions. Everything you've said is physically false. A
LiDAR
headlight
generates
generates
its own
photons.
photon. That's not false.
Headlights generate photons. There's ambient light at all times on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
Photons, here's the crazy thing. When we wanted to detect neutrinos, we had to go to the deep recesses of Earth, build large, solid walls. And even then, photons still kept coming through. Why? Because matter is actually extremely porous.
Mhm.
Extremely porous. Photons travel through objects. There's always photons everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't doubt that.
So now what we're talking about is the sensitivity of the receiver. If the sensitivity of the receiver can see a photon coming back from LiDAR, so too can it see it coming back from a camera.
Okay, so are you claiming that in this video, Mark video, in
Yes.
the Mark video, the system with LiDAR did not perform the FSD system? It was all made up.
Yes. I think the Luminar sponsored video falsely described how LiDAR works. It is factually incorrect how they described how it works.
But how can you claim that they made up the videos without having been there?
Oh,
That
I'm
sounds like
not
a
claiming
bias. That
because I
sounds
haven't
like a
been there.
biased statement.
We now can see multiple takes. He posted other.
Yeah, you're just
video.
talking about the wall video.
No. I'm talking. Are you talking about the LiDAR itself? What
No,
part of
they
the
had
video are
like
you talking about?
five. They had like 5 tests over there, not just
I
the
know.
wall
I'm
video.
talking about the other tests too. So you want to
Mhm.
talk about fog? Let's talk about fog. Which one do you want to talk
Mhm.
about? Let's talk about it one at a time. I posted about every single one. So this is not an uninformed opinion.
I mean, you can't talk about any one of them, but
Okay, let's talk about fog. Let's talk
no.
about
Hold on,
fog.
hold on.
Okay.
Dude, what I'm asking you is, are you claiming that all of the tests were made up, and in no test, LiDAR system actually would outperform the FSD system?
When I read a scientific paper and one of the methodologies in multiple claims is false, I throw the entire paper out because I don't trust the scientific method.
You're avoiding my question.
Yes, I'm saying that they're all questionable and many of them are false. And we can go point by point, but you don't want to go point by point.
No, we can. But
Okay, so let's go point by point.
my point is that even if it increases safety by 1%,
It doesn't.
in
You can't. You're
1%
starting
of
with a
edge
conclusion.
cases,
You're
then
starting with a conclusion.
LiDAR increases safety.
If it
I
doesn't
can't.
include, if it doesn't increase safety and it actually deteriorates safety, you should not put LiDAR on cars. That is my position. You should not put LiDAR on cars.
Mhm. Okay. Let's go to Don first. Don?
Hi, can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to chime in on lighter stuff. I don't know if you guys have watched the video of Andrej Karpathy. He mentioned that Tesla actually used LiDAR at training time. So, actually, Andrej acknowledged that using LiDAR
Yeah,
can
but
improve.
we're not talking about training time. We're talking about inference time right now.
Yeah, but I think Andres actually acknowledged that LiDAR can improve the detection and
Mhm.
safety, but because of the cost of LiDAR itself, of the sensor, Tesla is
We're not talking about cost right now. We're only talking about
yeah,
performance.
right. So actually, I mean, Andre acknowledged that LiDAR can improve safety and detection, but Tesla is only doing that at training time, and then do the blending with the vision, and then that's I don't know if you guys watched that part of the video, but
Yeah, you're talking about 29th Autonomy Day, right?
no, the recent one, I think it was like 2 months ago. He was
Okay.
interviewed.
Can I ask
Can,
Brandon
can
a
you
question?
can you just
Do you guys,
post it in the replies, Don?
can I ask
Sure,
if
yeah,
we trust IEEE as a body? I'm just curious where people stand on IEEE.
IEEE. I don't know who that is.
Okay, you're not an
Hold on.
engineer. Does
We have
anybody here know what IEEE is?
we have other people trying to speak. Ekti.
Yes, I don't know if you guys know, but there's a lot of robotic companies that create the vacuum cleaners around your house, and most of them use LiDAR. There was one company that tried to use cameras, but they failed. So if LiDAR is that bad, why is everybody using it? And Elon's the only one that's claiming cameras will work. Same at this vacuum
All
cleaner
right, we'll
company.
get back to that. Bull 2035 and Meta.
Yes, two questions for Meta. First, are we criticizing LiDAR or radar in general? Volvo uses a different radar system, which has very good efficiency. Second question, Yaman made a good point. Why can't we have a second system that uses LiDAR or radar that's independent from the vision that can be a clutch switch to stop a car in a dangerous situation?
Thank you. Meta?
If it's okay, I'm going to post to a study because I really dislike the anecdotal stories that we're going to go into, and it just doesn't go into anything. So let's look at
Yeah,
IEEE.
you can't post it in the replies,
Oh,
but
sorry.
not up top yet. Okay, thank you.
Okay, sorry.
I have to review everything goes up top.
Okay, sorry. Give me 1 second. I'll just post the.
I just
link.
posted in the
All right, so
comment
here's
the
the
video
chat.
from Andre.
Okay, thank you, Don. Thank you. All right, video from Andre in the comments, and Meta is going to post the study in the comments as well. Andre says Tesla actually does use a lot of expensive sensors just at training time. Tesla amortizes the cost of LiDAR, other expensive techniques for offline mapping across millions of production, etc. Okay. That's training time.
By
We're
the way,
talking
none of the
inference right
training
now.
time that they do is with the fog. They don't use LiDAR to train during the fog. So that's a
Okay.
completely
Hold on.
redundant
I'm
conversation.
going to read. Yeah, I'm going to read one more thing. This is from ChatGPT 4.0. True or false? LiDAR increases safety. LiDAR increases true, but with context. LiDAR increases safety in many applications such as autonomous vehicles, robotics, and industrial automation by providing precise real-time 3D mapping of the environment. It helps detect obstacles, measure distance accurately, and function in various lighting conditions, improving situational awareness. However,
Makes
its effectiveness depends on implementation, sensor fusion with other technologies like cameras and radar, and real-world conditions, whether cost and system redundancy in autonomous driving. Some companies like Waymo prioritize LiDAR, while others, Tesla, argue that vision systems are sufficient. Oh, actually, it reminds me of one point, Meta. Doesn't LiDAR improve measuring distance?
No.
Ooh, I don't know. Precise?
Again, we can ignore everything that disagrees with
Measure
confirmation
distances
bias, but
accurately.
ChatGPT just gave you the answer you were looking for, and it gave you a correction, and you're ignoring that part. It said exactly the point I'm going to be making. If you want to read the IEEE study, it comes down to why did they do the fog test the way they did it?
Are you claiming that FSDs, vision on the system, cameras on the system, can measure distance as accurately as LiDAR?
In aggregate, correct, yes.
What do you mean in aggregate?
Because if I take a lottery ticket and I take an anomaly and I take a solar flare that hit a camera, but it didn't in that instance hit a LiDAR, yeah, I could find one particular example where the distance was incorrect in one place or another. But this is a law of averages. It's a law of large numbers. So if you want to be pedantic and twist my words later, I need to be very careful in your spaces and be very caveated. But if you want to actually talk about the points, point by point, you could.
What I heard is LiDAR can improve distance.
I mean, I came here thinking you want to talk about the fog test or one of the specific tests. I give you a study. You don't even want to read what's being presented.
I will, just not right now. I'm paying attention to what you're saying. I can't do all things at the same time.
So the way fog works, fog is particles of water in the air. When photons hit water, they reflect. If you have the fog only at the subject at the very end and you drive really fast to it, that's not a valid test. I don't know about you, but I've never been driving and there was fog only in one spot. Fog tends to dissipate. It starts slowly. It gets denser in a particular area. As you detect fog, LiDAR bounces in fog. In fact, there are many studies that demonstrate that LiDAR doesn't perform and it is hindered in fog. It is one of the primary reasons why LiDAR is not good for fog. And the study that they showed, the quote unquote experiment that they showed an unrealistic situation with a fog machine in an isolated location, rather than, why didn't they just put fog machines all the way down the road, generate a real scenario of fog, and then demonstrate it? The reason is because the car would have probably refused to activate in such heavy fog.
Okay, that makes sense.
And guess what? The LiDAR would have failed in that heavy fog too.
Yeah, that's fine. What about radar?
Radar would also fail. The only difference between LiDAR and radar is the band in which they operate. They both operate on light. It's just a different band of light.
Mm-hmm.
Light bounces off of objects. Now, radar has a longer wavelength, so it has a lower probability of bouncing, which is why it's better for long distance. It has a lower probability, but the probability is still there. The difference is The distance at which you're looking at with radar often is too far for you to reason about. You're looking, there's a whole other conversation. Like, do you really need to look 6 football fields down the road to make a decision? Not really. That's not really that useful. It's noisy.
Waymo uses radar, right? Waymo uses radar. Right?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
They use LiDAR too. But guess what? They have a lot of equipment on the cars, but they have also spoken about this, and you can see this in their papers. They ablate sensors all the time. They don't actually use all the sensors. Just because they have the sensors there doesn't mean that they're using it at all times.
I mean, if I were you, what I would argue is that the sensor fusion thing, like it can
No, I'm not going to
slow
argue
down
that, 'cause
decision.
that's a silly argument that you guys are going to
It can
not
slow down.
understand, and we've gone over many times.
No, it can slow down. Like the more systems, the more sensors you have, it can slow down decision making, etc.
No, but you don't need to go to sensor
But like
fusion
we
for that.
discussed before, exactly, we can have independent systems.
No, you don't need to go to sensor fusion for that, and you can't have independent systems. At some point, the decision must be made at one place. So there's a sync point. When you have a sync point, you must follow back from the sync point and see what is the frequency at which the input is coming in. The slowest frequency will dictate your sync point.
Okay. Anybody else? Ekti.
Yo, so when does Metaphor think that Tesla will deliver on full self-driving?
No, we're talking for anything on the topic about the 2 videos.
Anybody have questions about how physics works in these things? Because like that would be a place to ground rather than opinion.
All right, so I have a question for you. So you're telling me that you can't have 2 independent systems, like a LiDAR system independent from the radar system, independent from the vision system.
Correct. You must fuse at some point before it gets to the steering wheel and the brakes.
Yeah,
you can't
that's
have 2
exactly
people.
what
You can't have 2
Andre-
drivers grabbing the steering wheel going in different directions. When LiDAR says turn right and the camera says turn right, turn left, what do? Just go straight? That might be the worst decision of all.
Well, maybe you just have it for one decision, which is there something in front of me? So let's say the camera system says, it's 99% positive. LiDAR says I'm 100%, 99.9% positive.
That's not how it works. Again, that's sensor fusion. You're coming up with a strategy for fusion. You're saying, if both systems give me a confidence, I'll go with whichever one is more confident. Who decided what's confident? Guess what? An AI has to decide which one, the confidence level. Right there, you have to do fusion.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with the AI has to decide which one is more confident.
sensors
I mean,
don't tell you confidence
99.9%.
intervals.
I don't need AI to know 99.9% is higher than 99%.
No, that's not. So here's the thing: to get the 99.9, you have to have AI, because like when you use a ruler and you measure something, it doesn't tell you the confidence interval of the ruler. What it tells you is the precision, but the precision has to be over a lot of instances. This is what you keep failing to miss. Like
I think
if I
think
sample
the vision
one
system,
example,
I think the vision system. I understand why you need AI for the camera on the system to
You need it for
determine
LiDAR
whether it's
too.
99%. You sure about that? You need it for
can you
LiDAR
show me
because
any
all you're
system
doing
that
is
operates on
collecting.
LiDAR without AI?
I don't know. I'm asking you.
No, they don't exist. It doesn't exist. LiDAR is a sensor. Camera is a sensor. The
Mhm.
sensors must be used over a period of time. That is why the LiDAR spins around and takes many measurements. And then those measurements are aggregated and then processed and then fused. Fusion is just one part of it. There are many other steps that come before it, and all those introduce latency. There's a reason why Waymo had a harder time on highways than in the cities. Cities are slower. They can operate in the slower spaces. So using LiDAR allowed them to start in the slower spaces first. Using cameras allowed Tesla to start in the faster spaces first. Interesting, right? Like outcomes based on actual physics.
Yes, you can have. This is ChatGPT talking again. Yes, you can have LiDAR based system, vision based system operate independently on a car, but generally it's not ideal for safety and efficiency.
Can you do me a favor and ask ChatGPT the inverse of the questions you want to ask, because it's a people pleaser and it's always going to say yes.
That's not my experience with ChatGPT.
That's
So
how
what
all
would be
these
the
systems work.
what
That's how
would
they're
be the
implemented.
inverse? What would be the inverse of this? I mean, say yes or no question.
Okay, yeah. So ask it, do any systems exist that have LiDAR but no AI?
I mean, maybe it doesn't have the information to say that. But
Well,
I
I mean,
don't
you don't
think.
want to ask anything that would
I don't
confirm
think.
the opposite of
No,
what you
no.
believe.
What's the inverse? That's a different question. What's the inverse of the question I asked? Can I have LiDAR-based system and vision-based system operate independent of the car?
Is it impossible for a LiDAR system to be useful if it doesn't operate in conjunction with a camera?
Is it impossible
For
for
a vehicle driving scenario?
is it impossible for LiDAR-based system to be useful? Continue, please. Again, it's the second part.
Without the use of a camera for a self-driving system.
Let me just repeat the question. Is it impossible for a LiDAR-based system to be useful without the use of a camera? No, it's not impossible.
Well, for a driving
But it's
scenario.
for a self-driving system, yes. No, it's not impossible, but it's highly impractical for a LiDAR-only self-driving system to function effectively without a camera. But it's not impossible. So we
Okay,
asked the question you want to ask.
ChatGPT is
Is
just
the
lying.
answer
It's just
sorted?
lying.
Of course, AI is wrong when it
You know what?
disagrees
Ask it.
with you.
Oh,
Why
how about
not?
this? Ask it
I
how that
literally
system
asked the
would work.
question that you said.
Ask it how it
You're
would
like,
work.
ask
Ask
the
it how it
inverse.
works.
It's the open end. It's a yes or no question.
You know,
Yes
you're
or no
right.
question.
ChatGPT is God and has never been wrong.
Yeah, maybe I'll ask the other ones too. Maybe I'll ask Grok.
That doesn't solve the fact that you're
Mhm.
delegating your thinking, which you've been doing all this time.
I don't know.
You gotta
Listen,
stop delegating your thinking.
I asked the question.
Elon is never wrong.
that
Tesla will triple. Delegate
I
my
asked.
thinking.
I asked the question you said I should ask, and the
No,
answer is the same.
I didn't say no matter what you ask, this AIs are going to be the 100% true be all end all. Guess what? I come from reasoning. I give you papers. I show
Okay.
you physics. You just delegate your thinking.
Yeah, that's totally fine because it knows all that. Let's go to Bull 2035.
I would just ask Meta to study what Volvo's been doing with radars, particularly in avoiding animals and people a long way down on the street. Yes, they have a camera system too, but they've actually developed some technology which is preventing people from hitting deer and other people on the road. You got to look at that because I think that system would be great in Tesla.
Have you seen Teslas hit deer and other people on the road while in FSD? Because when NHTSA's ODI department did an entire study, they found zero evidence of that. From every single media report, from every single claim through insurance, they found zero instances of that. So why are we bringing that up?
Well, part of it is the large number, right? We're talking about supervised FSD now. When we go, we're all assuming unsupervised FSD, right? So we're talking about hundreds of millions of miles a month or a week. So it's going to come up.
The system as implemented today doesn't have the fault, but the system as refined and implemented tomorrow will have the fault?
We don't have well, first, I mean, we have seen video of FSD allegedly hitting animals. But putting that aside, we have supervised FSD. I'm thinking about if we're talking about 2 million cyber cabs, a lot more miles, billions of miles a year. We need the best system to prevent death. Because the problem is, if you're a Tesla shareholder and you've got a cyber cab running over a child, how do you think that's going to fit Tesla?
I mean, I saw as many videos of Tesla shitting gold as I saw them hitting animals. So,
okay, I want to focus on the science of it. So I asked ChatGPT, in which scenarios does LiDAR increase the safety of a self-driving system? And here's the answer. LiDAR increases the safety of a self-driving system in several key scenarios by providing precise depth perception, object detection, and redundancy. Here are some specific situations, which is exactly what we discussed. Number one, which is what we discussed at the beginning of the space, low light and night driving. Unlike cameras, which depend on ambient light, LiDAR works in complete darkness by emitting its own laser pulses, which is exactly what I said.
Cars have headlights. This is so stupid. Cars have headlights.
Which is why Tesla did it at the training time.
Which is why cars have headlights.
At training time, they put LiDAR and in low light condition, and then blend the vision and the sensor from LiDAR.
You know, this is so false.
You can
hold on, Don. Sorry, just give me 1 second. Thank you. Meta. The headlights don't go 360, whereas LiDAR does. So if there's a pedestrian walking,
can humans not drive with headlights? Answer that question. Can humans not drive in cars without headlights? Should we require 360 headlights for humans? Well, humans have eyes and they drive.
I understand that's Elon's argument.
That's no,
but it's
that's my argument.
irrelevant.
I don't
Elon
defer
makes
my
a
thinking.
lot
I
of
am making my own argument.
fine. It's your argument. Elon's doesn't matter who's saying it. It's one of those things that Elon says that kind of make me scratch my head. I'm like, okay, yeah, humans don't drive, but the goal here is to get to as far better as possible from humans.
No, the goal is to get to something that the person training it can actually supervise. I can't train a car to fly and dig a hole in Mars if I don't even know what the fuck Mars is. I'm a human being. How am I supposed to train a car to drive through thick fog when I can't see in thick fog? It doesn't matter what sensors you put on there. The vehicle needs to be supervised to be trained.
Yeah,
Show
you
me a
can't.
single self-driving car company that has not used humans to train it with humans behind the wheel. It
Yeah,
doesn't
you can supervise, use humans, use whatever you want to train the vision on the system, and also have LiDAR and other sensors to improve safety. I mean, LiDAR improves safety. Like, this is obviously
We keep
the
repeating this is
takeaway
false.
here.
No, you're
One,
wrong.
low light night driving improves safety by detecting
According to
pedestrians,
Yaman
vehicles,
and the
obstacles.
people-pleasing LLM, when we selectively pick out what it says and remove all the howevers and all the buts that the AI says, yes.
2, fog, rain, and low visibility conditions. LiDAR can partially penetrate fog, mist, and light rain, allowing the system to detect objects where cameras struggle. So, obviously, there are levels of penetration. You talked about the difference between radar and LiDAR, but there can be differences
LiDAR
between
penetrates fog as much as you penetrate
cameras.
machine's mom.
And cameras can differ from LiDAR. They all have different penetration levels. Some are bigger penetration, some are smaller penetration.
Yes, in this
However,
case, it's small penetration is what we're talking about.
However, heavy rain, snow, and dust can degrade LiDAR performance, and so it's often paired with radar, which is exactly what I said. Wow, it's almost like ChatGPT listened to me.
Hey, good form for not laughing at the small penis.
3, yeah, I'm pretty good at this stuff. 3, precise distance. Oh my gosh, it's like literally it summarizes what I said.
I know, it's like it's a people pleaser. It's amazing. It just says what you wanted to say. It's phenomenal.
I don't think so. I think just just knows physics and logic very well. LiDAR provides accurate 3D point clouds that help detect objects with precise distance calculations.
Do you notice all the howevers and buts and the hedging? Because it doesn't want to piss you off, but it wants to tell you that you're wrong.
This is critical in complex urban environments with many obstacles, such as parked cars, pedestrians, and cyclists. Okay.
Yeah, but now ask it about the reaction time. Ask it if using LiDAR slows down your ability to react if the frequency of LiDAR is slower than the camera, which it always
I understand. Just give me 1 second. Let me just finish this for a second. Precise distance management, 3D mapping. LiDAR provides accurate 3D. We talked about that. Edge case scenarios, object differentiation. LiDAR helps differentiate between stationary objects versus moving objects better than vision alone. Interesting. I actually heard this argument before, but I didn't think of it just now in our conversation. Example, a self-driving car might mistake a billboard shadow for a real object using a camera, but LiDAR detects only physical obstacles. Oh, interesting. 5, complex intersections and merging. At intersections with many moving objects, car, bikes, pedestrians, LiDAR improves 360-degree situational awareness, helps with unprotected left turns and merging by detecting gaps between vehicles more accurately than vision alone. 6, highway driving and adaptive cruise control. LiDAR enhances safety by detecting sudden braking vehicles ahead, tracking multiple lanes, and maintaining safe following distances, avoiding phantom braking, which can happen when a camera misidentifies shadows or road features. That makes sense. That's another one.
Can I give you examples where LiDAR is worse?
Oh, we have 3 more. Redundancy for sensor fusion, pedestrians and cyclist detection. LiDAR improves pedestrian safety by detecting small moving objects in low light or cluttered environments, like kids playing near a road, cyclists swerving unexpectedly. Some LiDAR systems can even detect hand gestures, useful for interpreting pedestrians' intent at crosswalks. 9, underground and GPS-denied environments. Oh, that's another one. In tunnels, parking garages, or dense urban canyons where GPS signals are weak, LiDAR helps the vehicle navigate accurately. This is crucial for safety autonomous delivery vehicles and robotaxis operating in cities. Final takeaway.
Is the short chill over, or are we still going?
LiDAR significantly improves safety in low visibility conditions, high traffic urban areas, and sensor fusion redundancy. However, it works best when combined with vision and radar, as each sensor type has strengths and weaknesses.
It's amazing that you can
Yeah.
read that long message, but you can't read the summary of a paper written by IEEE and engineers. It's phenomenal, the confirmation bias. Ask it what happens if a leaf goes across the road, or a rock goes across the road,
about
or a
reaction
ball.
time?
LiDAR can't tell the difference. It will slam the brakes when a leaf crosses the road. Guess what? Leaves blow for 3 months out of the year, and the cars are fucking useless when they only have LiDAR.
Easy. LiDAR. So we asked the question that you want to ask. What about reaction time? LiDAR significantly improves a self-driving system's reaction
now you're just,
time.
okay, the thing is just reading off of LiDAR company websites at this point. It's just wrong. It's just wrong. I don't know what to tell you. Talk to a physicist. Talk to an engineer. Stop using these fucking LLMs. Use your brain.
I use both.
You're not using your brain. You're deferring
I'm using
everything to
my
a model, and you're
LLM
laughing because it's
and my
confirming everything for
brain.
you.
I'm not dissing LLM just because I have a brain. I'm using LLMs and my brain because I don't need to
You're
react so
definitely
fast
not
right now.
using your brain and using critical
And
thinking.
in certain situations, using LLMs improves reaction time. How about that?
Wrong. Many times you have to use critical thinking. You can use an LLM, but you still got to use critical thinking.
Faster object detection. LiDAR provides a real-time 3D point cloud, instantly calculating distance to objects. Unlike cameras, which need image processing to estimate depth, LiDAR measures distance
LiDAR doesn't do
directly.
image processing, so whatever you're reading is false.
LiDAR measures distance. No, that's cameras it's set for.
Okay,
Unlike cameras, which needs image processing to estimate depth,
Nope,
LiDAR
false.
measures distance
Tesla
directly.
does not use image processing. False. It does not need image processing. False.
Oh.
Ask him about redundancy, Yaman.
No, hold on. So just everybody stand back between me and Meta and ChatGPT. Okay.
Well, could you do me a favor and actually read the IEEE summary as well then?
I
Because
will.
you're going to read this long thing. You might as well read one paragraph.
I will. LiDAR sensors operate at 10 to 20 hertz, some even higher, meaning they can scan the environment 10 to 20 times per second. This allows for faster updates on moving objects compared to cameras, which rely on frame-by-frame analysis. Predictive tracking of fast-moving objects. LiDAR helps track vehicles, cyclists, and pedestrians in real time, reducing reaction delay. When LiDAR might not improve reaction time, processing overhead. LiDAR data is dense and complex, requiring significant computational power. Slower response to traffic signals and road signs. LiDAR cannot read traffic lights or road signs as cameras do. And adverse weather conditions. While LiDAR is fast, heavy rain, fog, or snow can scatter laser pulse, which is what you said.
Which again, the fake experiment was intentionally designed to mislead people. It is incredibly bad engineering. I'm so pissed at Mark Rober for being a terrible engineer here.
Best reaction time strategy, sensor fusion, LiDAR plus camera plus radar. Best balance for fast and accurate reactions. Example, if a vehicle ahead suddenly brakes, LiDAR instantly detects the distance change. Radar confirms the object's movement. Camera ensures it's not a shadow or a misleading optical illusion. The system reacts faster than a human driver. Final verdict. LiDAR improves reaction time in detecting physical objects, especially in low light and complex environments. However, for a full self-driving system, LiDAR works best when combined with cameras and radar. Okay, now let's read yours.
You can just read one sentence if you want.
I just love the ability to fact check real time.
I love the ability to confirm my biases whenever I can as well. It's
I just wish these X spaces had a function where when somebody is bullshitting,
when somebody's bullshitting and just parroting what they see and ignoring all the misstatements inside ChatGPT that says LiDAR doesn't always work.
No. When somebody's like this ChatGPT LLM, for example, would kind of like incorporate into a light on your screen, and the screen would turn like red, and then there would be like a Pinocchio
more and
nose.
more people deferred their thinking, critical thinking would disappear, and you would be able to shill anything you want. It'd be phenomenal.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's amplification of human.
Just write whatever
abilities.
you want on the internet. Have the LLMs crawl it. Write tons of biased articles, and then when the LLMs just confirm that bias, you can push whatever you want on other people. If everybody stops critically thinking, the world will be so much better for the people who want to manipulate them. You're right.
Perfect. We have so many people requesting to speak. Let's see for a second.
Well, what happened to the paragraph you're going to read? You read like hours of ChatGPT bullshit. You can't read what IEEE engineers, like the highest standard of engineering in the world, wrote.
I'm opening it, man. You're so impatient. Survey
The
on
entire
LiDAR
study is on
perception.
synthetic data.
Everybody
Just so you know,
quiet down.
the entire study you're reading.
Everybody, please, quorum in the courtroom. Survey on LiDAR perception adverse weather conditions. Autonomous vehicles rely on a variety of sensors to gather information about their surrounding. The vehicle's behavior is planned based on environment perception, making its reliability crucial for safety reasons. The active LiDAR sensor is able to create an accurate 3D representation of a scene, making it a valuable addition to environment perception for autonomous vehicles. Due to light scattering occlusion, the LiDAR's performance change under adverse weather conditions like fog, snow, or rain. This limitation recently fostered a large body of research on approaches to alleviate the decrease in perception performance. In this survey, we gathered, analyzed, and discussed different aspects on dealing with adverse weather conditions in LiDAR-based environment perception. We addressed topics such as availability of appropriate data, raw point cloud processing and denoising, robust perception algorithms, and sensor fusion to mitigate adverse weather-induced shortcomings. We furthermore identified the most pressing gaps in the current literature and pinpoint. I mean, this doesn't disagree. This literally
you're right,
agrees
but look
with
at the year.
what
Now,
ChatGPT said.
so this is what I want to have the discussion before we went on this giant ChatGPT rant. I want to grind into physics. This comes out in 2023. What is the paper actually talking about? It's talking about how the scientific studies at the time realized, oh shit, LiDAR decreases drastically in all the scenarios that it was being pitched as being good for. Engineering bodies, by the way, never come out and say something is bad. They always are measured. That is just how they work. So when you read a paper and they talk about the large gaps between what was expected and what the actual outcomes was, and then large decrease in these sensors, and they propose mitigation things. The reason why they propose it is because it is bad engineering practice to write an article just complaining about things if you can't propose solutions. All of their solutions, when you read in the paper, are going to be caveated by the fact that it's going to reduce reaction time, post-processing, denoising, algorithms, fusion. All of these things reduce reaction time. So it is a trade-off discussion. We can have a trade-off discussion, but no one can say one is definitely better. One is not definitely better.
No one is saying that. No one is
You
saying
were
that.
saying 100%
Nope.
LiDAR makes things safer, and I'm saying
In certain
I'm on the
conditions,
trade-off
yes.
side of it doesn't.
In certain conditions, and for example,
No. In the instances you described, the paper says it's not better.
No, it did say ChatGPT and that paper agreed that in snow,
no, they did not.
rain, etc. We talked
snow,
about
rain, and
low
fog. LiDAR performs
we said
worse.
low
It
visibility
braking
and darkness.
No,
So-
read up on this, Yaman. Honestly, it will really help you understand this space. In snow, rain, and fog, it is provably true that LiDAR performs detrimentally.
Yeah,
is the reason
we all
why,
agree on that. We all
yeah,
agree.
it is
You
the
agree,
reason why
me
I
agree,
guarantee you
ChatGPT
Waymo
agrees.
turns the late. All these companies probably turn their perception off.
Yeah, I don't doubt that. I agree with you.
It's the reason why all the cruises, all of these guys don't drive in the rain. Why don't they drive in the rain?
Yeah, I agree with you. But the thing is, in low light and darkness, LiDAR and other situations, LiDAR also, you make the comment about reaction time.
It is all about
Yes,
reaction time.
if you're
and you keep
fusing,
pretending like there's no headlights.
hold on. If you're fusing different sensors, yes, the reaction time may increase. But if a human reaction time, yes, if a human, why would it increase?
Your reaction time is how fast you can respond to something. A lower
the
one.
time at which you react.
If you add
increases.
everything, yes.
Okay,
sure,
thank you. Do I need to teach you how mathematics works?
Sorry, I'm overly excited. I'm going to calm down.
No, I understand. I'm here to calm you down.
I'm also interrupting you.
I
apologize, and thank you for being gracious about that.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Yes, true. Reaction time may increase with sensor fusion. However, if that's a trade-off we're willing to make, if our reaction time is already multiple orders of magnitude faster than a human, but LiDAR improves object detection or distance measurement, etc., in certain situations a lot more than a vision-only system able to do.
No, that's not true.
That's the trade-off that I'm willing to make, and that's the trade-off that Waymo is willing to make.
No. That's not the trade-off Waymo's willing to make because of the fact that Waymo's actually doing sensor reduction, right? So we can see 60% sensor reduction. That's directionally opposite to what you're saying.
I mean, that could be just because of cost.
Okay, sure, but either way, the cost reduction and the LiDAR reduction are in the same direction.
It's $100 per share coming.
Dude, just because I'm more reasonable than you and I'm not willing to be unreasonable doesn't make you right. Let's be
I
clear
don't know.
about that.
It just sounds
Don't
like
take a
I'm
maybe for
owning
a
you
yes.
minute
That's
after
how you get me
minute. You're just
too.
being
Don't take a
owned.
maybe for a yes. Okay.
I don't
Confirm.
know. I
Get
don't know.
consent. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the issue. All the things that are described, denoising, fusion, heuristics, almost all of these approaches traditionally, there's AI fusion, so I'll put a caveat on that one. All these things traditionally require a CPU. A CPU is 10,000 times slower than an ASIC. So your reaction time is not half, it's not 10 times less, it is abysmally less. That is why you can't use LiDAR. That is the issue at the core, is the reaction time that you introduce by putting CPU in the loop.
Okay, well, thank you for your closing arguments. We have other hands, and one more thing I want to ask you about. Let's go to David Anderson and then Ekti.
Hi, I joined late, but the bickering that's going back and forth kind of proves a case that we shouldn't have two sources of information because it really confuses the AI. But I would really like to know how I can get that IEEE study that Meta was talking about.
It's in the comments. I put in the response.
It's in the comments. You know, the thing is, like, we don't have to
Thank you.
convince anybody, right? You kind of present your arguments, people place their bets, and one person will be proven or the other, etc. But time will tell. Time will tell. I feel very confident.
And
Yeah,
I
here's
think
the
you're scaring people
interesting.
away.
That's fine. I don't care.
Yeah.
Here's the interesting part. Thank you, David, for your insights. Here's the interesting part. If Elon came out tomorrow and said, we're adding LiDAR to Teslas, the entire Tesla Bull community would do a 180 and pretend as if they didn't argue the vision only case for the last decade.
You can make all these fantasy porn,
And
soft
that
porn ideas
is
you want in your head, but
100%
please,
true. Everyone knows it.
Yaman,
Everyone.
you can't
We've
be the only
seen
person that is not in a
time and
category.
time
Stop
and
throwing me into a
time
bull
and time
category
again.
so you can just
Tesla bulls
lambast it
have done
and show more.
180s
You're
based
still
on what
wrong.
Elon says.
Okay.
5 years ago, they were all voting for Democrats. 5 years later,
5 years
they're
ago, I was
all
saying they need
voting for Trump.
simulations, even when Elon was shitting on it.
Give me
5
a
years ago, I was saying
break.
Waymo's going to get there before Tesla, even though they were shitting on it. Stop talking
Right,
through
right,
me.
right.
Talk to me.
Right. 5 years ago, they were all laughing at BYD, and
5
today,
years ago, you were
no
saying Tesla
one
was
is
going to triple.
no one is laughing at BYD.
You were
Now,
saying Tesla was going to triple.
that
Like, come on,
is,
man.
that wasn't 5 years ago.
Okay,
That
4 years
Yeah,
ago.
what happened with that?
That
What
is
happened with
one hell of a segue into our next topic. BYD unveils new supercharging EV tech to build charging network in China. BYD on Monday unveiled a new platform for EVs that it said could charge EVs as quickly as it takes to pump gas, and announced the first time that it would build a charging network across China. The so-called Super E platform will be capable of peak charging speeds of 1,000 kilowatts, enabling cars that use it to travel 249 miles on a 5-minute charge. Founder said at an event live streamed from the company's Shenzhen headquarters. Charging speeds of 1,000 kilowatts would be twice as fast as Tesla's superchargers, whose latest version offers up to 500 kilowatts charging speed, which, by the way, you can't find them anywhere. Fast charging technology has been key to increasing EV adoption, as it is seen to help assure EV drivers' concerns, etc. And I think this is the critical reason why EVs are not the majority. It's not the cost, it's not the price, it's the charging time. And once again, BYD is leading the charge on this, which is interesting. Oh, Wes is here. Let's see if he wants to come up. Actually, what do you want to say?
I just wanted to say in regards to Waymo and self-driving technology. I mean, Waymo has been the leader since day one, the last 10 years, and they're using all these different kind of sensors, and they can see up to 3 football fields ahead of itself. So reaction time isn't that important. They can use the cameras for reaction times, and the reason they're doing that is because to make it as safe as possible. And if you look at it back today, Waymo is the only one offering services today, right? In many cities. So I mean, he's literally saying that the current leader is wrong about everything, and they can just use cameras, which is kind of, kind of strange, right?
Okay. All right. Any other arguments on LiDAR versus vision or BYD's new charging system? What I want to know is, when will this charging system going to come to BYD vehicles? Let's see. In order to completely solve our user charging anxiety, we have been pursuing a goal to make the charging time of electric vehicles as short as the refueling time of petrol vehicles, the founder said. This is the first time in the industry that the unit of megawatt has been achieved on charging power, he said. The new charging architecture will be initially available in 2 new EVs, Han L Sedan and Tang L SUV, priced from, are you guys sitting down? $37,000, and BYD said it would build over 4,000 ultra-fast charging piles or units across China to match the new platform. So $37,000 vehicle, BYD vehicle, is going to charge in 5 minutes versus a Model Y that's priced the same in China, charging 4 times slower. And that's going to be a key differentiating factor. And the thing is, Tesla can't do this. Right? Tesla doesn't produce or innovate, is not vertically integrated as much as BYD is to battery research and battery production. So it doesn't have that type of loop cycle. The company didn't specify the time frame or how much it would invest in building such facilities. To date, BYD owners have largely relied on other automakers' charging facilities or public charging poles run by third-party operators to charge their vehicles. Yeah. The BYD Han L Sedan and Tang L SUV, priced from $37,000. Interesting. XT?
I have a problem with this new leaps in technology and the battery charging and so on. It's so exciting, but if you buy a car today, every week there's almost new leap in this technology. It makes your car worthless if you're going to sell it. So I think the best option may be to lease any EVs, because I've seen so many articles similar to ones you're reading, and Zeekr came up with that like a month ago. Now BYD is coming out. I mean, if you buy a car and then next year it's going to be worthless, you can't sell it even. So
Okay. David?
Hi, I'm on my second Model X, and I've always had them when I've been retired. And I didn't really care how long it took to charge. But my second Model X, we just went to Minnesota to Florida and back to Minnesota, over 4,000 miles. And people always used to ask me, how long does it take to charge? And then I'd have to explain the electrons and how fast they can enter a battery and whatnot. Now my answer is not long enough. Man, the chargers are so much faster. There's so many more faster chargers. You hardly have time to go in and use the restroom and get coffee and come back, and you might be getting late fees or whatever they're called for hogging the charger and stuff like that. We used to watch Netflix and YouTubes all the time. Now we don't have that much time. So that's my point of view.
Yeah,
That man, it's
David,
getting
that's
really
fine.
good.
Look, if you have a choice between a 5-minute charging car and a 45-minute charging car, you can choose the 45-minute charging car because you enjoy watching a Netflix video at the charger. But I think most people will choose a 5-minute charging car.
Traveling long distance and stuff like that. Yeah, but I've never, in my trip, I've never been asked by Tesla to charge more than 15 minutes. Never, ever. So, and it's so much better
Okay.
on the 2024 versus 2020.
All right. All right. I want to read this a little bit more. Thank you, David.
Yep.
LiDAR significantly improves self-driving system reaction time in certain scenarios, but the impacts depends on how it's used alongside other sensors. How LiDAR enhances reaction time: faster object detection, instantaneous depth perception. LiDAR provides a real-time 3D point cloud, instantly calculating distance to objects, unlike cameras, which need image processing to estimate depth. LiDAR measures distance directly using light pulses. Yeah, that makes sense. All right. Let's do our usual. If Wes doesn't want to come up, if he wants to come and talk about LiDAR cameras, he's welcome to do so. If not, I'm going to read our usual Reuters article. US retail sales rebounded marginally in February as consumers pulled back on discretionary spending, reinforcing the growing uncertainty over the economy against the backdrop of tariffs and mass firings of federal government workers. Nonetheless, the report from the Commerce Department on Monday suggested that the economy continued to grow in the first quarter, though at a moderate pace. It sketched a picture of a cautious consumer with sales at restaurants and bars declining by most in 13 months amid deteriorating sentiment. This report should alleviate concerns that the economy is already shrinking, said Samuel Tomes, chief U.S. economist at Phantom Macroeconomics. But the risk of a much weaker growth as consumers seek to rebuild a savings buffer in response to concerns about job security now looks elevated. Retail sales rose 0.2% last month after a downwardly revised 1.2% decline in January. Oh, I didn't know the downward revision. Okay. Which was the biggest drop since November 2022, the Commerce Department Census Bureau said. Economists polled by Reuters had forecast retail sales, which are mostly goods and are not adjusted for inflation, advancing 0.6% after previously reported 0.9% drop in January. So the total miss here is 0.4 for February and a 0.3 downward revision. So that's a 0.7% drop. So let me just check this GDP now. I think it was supposed to be updated today. Still shows negative 2.1. So, oh no, latest estimate negative 2.1%. I thought this was supposed to be adjusted with the gold thing. Okay. That's really interesting. Okay. The PCE growth is 0.4. Okay. 0.4 for PCE growth. And then it's dragged down by this change in net exports. All right. So it's still very slow, but it's exacerbated by the change in net exports. All right. Let's continue with this article. Decline followed hefty gains in the fourth quarter and winter storms in many parts of the country in January, as well as wildfires in California. Sales increased 3.1% year over year in February. Monthly sales were lifted by a 2.4% surge in receipts from online stores. Sales at health and personal care stores jumped 1.7%. Sales at building material and garden equipment suppliers gained 0.2%. But receipts at auto dealerships fell 0.4% after dropping 3.7% in January. Furniture store sales were unchanged, while receipts at clothing stores fell 0.6%, and those at electronic retailers dropped 0.3%. Receipts at food services and drinking places, only services component to the report, declined 1.5%. That's the other thing that's happening right now that I don't think people are talking about. The services segment that has been carrying the economy over the last 2-3 years is slowed down dramatically. We see this in many, many areas. So it's not as robust. I don't know if it's shrinking yet, but it's not nearly as robust as it was a few months ago. And on top of that, as that was happening in the last couple of months, people were pointing to how manufacturing was recovering, but that also turned negative again. All right. Economists viewed dining out as a key indicator of household finances. Some believed cold weather could have kept people at home. Lower gasoline prices helped to lower the value of sales as service. So people talk about cold weather, but I did some digging into this on my own, and I don't see that as a primary driver. Although in January it may have, obviously have impacted, but I don't think that's the primary reason why things are slowing down. Let's see. Lower gasoline prices helped to lower the value of sales at service stations by 1%. Sporting goods, hobby, musical instrument, and bookstore sales fell 0.4%. Stocks were higher, dollar eased, longer dated treasury yields slipped, while shorter dated ones rose. With consumer sentiment sinking to a near 2.5-year low in March, sales could struggle in the months ahead. President Trump's raft of tariffs, which have unleashed a trade war, has ignited worries about inflation as well as job and income losses, developments that could undercut consumer spending, mass layoffs of public workers as part of an unprecedented campaign to shrink the federal government are hurting spending. Softening discretionary spending. So we're going into some earnings. I've already taken, I don't think, yeah, it's just talking about Kohl's, Macy's. I didn't know Macy's made a comment. I noticed Paul did that. Walmart and Target have tempered sales expectations amid mounting inflation and recession fears related to tariffs. Bank of America card data showed early signs. Oh, this is new. Bank of America card data showed early signs of softening discretionary spending, such as restaurants in February in DC area, which includes parts of Maryland and Virginia. A stock market sell-off could curb spending, predominantly driven by high-income households, while rising food prices could squeeze low-income households. Treasury Secretary Bessent said earlier this month the economy might slow as it transitions from public spending to private spending, calling it a detox period. No guarantees there will not be a recession in the US. We had the Fed meeting on Wednesday, nothing new there. Financial markets expect Fed to resume cuts in June. Okay. The Fed is in a bind as it will have to balance the risks of slowing economy and consumer against the possibility that sizable tariffs could stoke another round of inflation in the months ahead, said Scott Anderson, chief U.S. economist at BMO. Today's retail data signals. The one thing that this article is not showing is the Empire Manufacturing Index. Maybe they'll talk about it later. Let's see. If not, we'll talk about it afterwards. Today's retail sales data signals growing consumer distress, but not clear-cut recessionary behavior. Retail sales, excluding automobiles, gasoline, building materials, and food services, increased 1% in February after a downwardly revised 1% decline in January. These so-called core retail sales correspond most closely with the consumer spending component of gross domestic product, etc., etc. Economists expect consumer spending growth to slow to as low as 1.2% annualized rate. Okay. Atlanta Fed is currently forecasting GDP contracting. Rising inventories as consumer spending slows could, however, add to GDP growth. A separate report from Sainsbury showed business inventories rebounded in January. Okay. It doesn't talk about the Empire State Manufacturing Survey because there's some stuff on there that's not good at all. Let's look at that. This is from the Fed New York Bank. Survey responses were collected between March 3 and March 11. Business activity dropped significantly in New York State in March, according to firms responding to Empire State Manufacturing Survey. Headline General Business Conditions Index fell 26 points to -20. New orders and shipments declined. Delivery times and supply availability held steady, and inventories continued to grow. Employment levels and hours worked continued to move slightly lower. This is the part that I think is important. Input prices increased at the fastest pace in more than 2 years. And selling price increase also continued to pick up. So that means, at least in the Empire State area, there's stagflation going on right now. Optimism about the outlook waned considerably for a second consecutive month. We're going to dig into this report. We haven't done that before. There's a few more paragraphs on this and a bunch of graphs. I can leave this in the replies here. And if you're interested about it, you can follow along. Empire State Manufacturing Survey. It's a PDF. A regional survey. So there's only so much we can conclude out of it. But I think it's good to kind of keep an eye on this stuff. Manufacturing activity contract in New York. General business conditions dropped 26 basis points. We talked about that. The new orders index fell 26 points. That's a massive drop to negative 15. And the shipments index fell 23 points, indicating that both orders and shipments declined after increasing last month. Unfilled orders, so backlog, held steady. Inventories moved up 5 points to 13, its highest reading in more than 2 years, signaling that business inventories continue to expand. Delivery times index came in at 1, and the supply availability index was -1. Suggesting delivery times and supply availability were little changed. Price increases pick up again. The index for number of employees held steady at -4, and the average workweek index was -2.5, pointing to a slight decline in both employment and hours worked. Both price indices climbed for a third consecutive month. The prices paid rose 5 points to 45, its highest level in more than 2 years, and the prices received index rose 3 points to 22, its highest reading since May 2023. So it's basically PPI, CPI. Optimism firms continue to grow less optimistic about the outlook. After dropping 15 points last month, the index for future business activity fell another 10 points to 12.7. Capital spending plans remain soft. Input price increases are expected to remain significant, and supply availability is expected to contract somewhat in the months ahead. Yeah, this index has mostly been negative since mid 2022, when the Fed hiked interest rates way higher than people expected. And since then, it's been mostly negative, except for a couple of months here and there. And then current indicators change from pre-since. So the second page shows general business conditions, current indicators, new orders, shipments. Okay. Unfilled orders seem, backlog seems normal. Delivery times seem normal. Inventories are rising. Inventories are rising. That means production will probably drop soon if this uncertainty continues. So we should next expect the capacity utilization plunge if this continues. Prices paid highest in 2.5 years, since late 2022, basically. But it's not as high as 2021, early 2022. Prices received. Interesting. And you can see very clearly here how prices paid precedes prices received. Or let's say preceded in early 2021. Number of employees are negative. Average employee work week, soft. All right. Forward-looking indicators. Expectations 6 months ahead. General business conditions are slightly positive, but down sharply. Okay. New orders are down sharply, but not as low as late 2022. Interesting. Inventories are expected to decline. Forward-looking indicators continued. Prices paid are expected to increase in 6 months. Prices received, not as much. Interesting. Number of employees and average employee work week still expected to increase in the next 6 months. Okay. All right. Anything else? Tesla's down 5%. Nvidia's down 2%. Markets overall are up. Dow Jones up 1%. Nasdaq up 0.6. S&P 500 up 0.9. Russell 2000 up 1.3% today. Tesla and Nvidia leading this sector down. Max 7 companies are just soft today in general. Intel is up 8%. Baidu is up 9% today. Affirm is down 7%. That stock has halved in the last month. And then NAHB Housing Market Index was surprisingly low today at 39. So that's another March reading that's very low. So both March readings so far, Empire State Manufacturing and NAHB Housing Market Indices, very sharply down, as we would expect. The question is, will the tariff saga uncertainty continue and worsen in April? I don't have an answer for that, but that will obviously change things. If there were some deals made that actually lowers tariffs, that would change the sentiment quite a bit, very fast. Some headlines from Autoline, today's video. Foxconn to sign EV deal with 2 Japanese automakers. CATL developing second generation sodium ion batteries. Ford stockpiling car parts ahead of tariffs. California HOV lanes for EVs end in September. Former Waymo CEO trashes Tesla's robotaxi. Okay. London's congestion fee reduces pollution. BMW integrates Huawei tech into vehicles in China. Interesting. Let's read this robotaxi. Former Waymo CEO on Tesla robotaxi launch. There are many ways to fake a robotaxi service, he says. Waymo's longtime CEO until 2021 and auto industry veteran explained why Tesla Cybercab won't work in a new interview and went as far as suggesting that Tesla might fake its upcoming robotaxi launch in Austin in June. He said he's a highly respected leader, blah, blah, blah. 14 years at Ford. Led Waymo 2015 to 2021. Retired in 2022. Now on the board of Rivian and Daimler. So lots of conflicts of interest here for sure. Recent interview in Germany. If a company were serious about building a safe robotaxi business, the robotaxi wouldn't look anything like this prototype. A serious robotaxi would demonstrate the primacy of safety. The manufacturer would place sensors in optimal positions on the roof, as well as on the sides and corners of the vehicle. These sensors will also have cleaning and drying functions, windshield wipers and compressed air nozzles, and so on. A serious robotaxi also wouldn't have a low-slung coupe body design. This design makes it difficult for people to easily get in and out, and not everyone will be able to use these robotaxi vehicles comfortably. Almost all of the challenging circumstances and vulnerable road users found in cities also exist on highways, only less frequently. We've seen cyclists, scooter riders, pedestrians on American highways. The rarity doesn't make things easier, it makes them more difficult. You can't ignore these extremely rare events. You have to solve them robustly, even if the speeds are much higher and the stopping distances are much longer. This means that the sensing, perception, behavior prediction, and path planning aspects are much more demanding for autonomous trucks than for slower moving robotaxis in the city. He said there are many ways to fake a robotaxi service. Okay. All right. I think that's it then. If there are no requests to speak, we're going to end the space. Actually, we have a bunch of comments here. Let's see. Let me see if there's anything here that if LiDAR adds some say to 20% of cases but makes 50% cases more dangerous, how would one draw the line? You just don't use it for those 50% cases. We have a couple of people requesting to speak, and then we're going to end the space. David?
Hi, I've had a question for quite a long time, months. Tesla's robotaxi, using, let's say, a Model Y that has a steering wheel and brakes. I'm just curious how they're going to stop some Yahoo from grabbing the steering wheel and turning it or whatever, if there's some way of them to totally ignore the steering wheels being touched or the brakes being touched.
Yeah, I mean, with the drive-by-wire system, you can detach the steering wheel, obviously. But I just don't know if the AI system is going to be there for robotaxi launch anytime soon.
Yeah, and nobody talks about it is also my thought.
Okay, Ekti?
Thank you.
Yeah, I forgot the question.
That's okay. You can come back tomorrow and ask it tomorrow. It's fine. All right, we're going to end it there. Thank you very much, everybody. Great discussion today, and I will chat with you all next time. Take care.